Hi everyone. So I wanted to talk about the Atul Subhash case today. As a woman, I firmly stand for justice for Atul Subhash. What happened to him is heartbreaking and unacceptable. But while we demand justice, let's not forget that this is not about demonizing women or creating gender wars. It's about fixing a flawed system to protect both men and women from injustice. So everybody out there who's making this out to be कि अरे औरत की गड़बड़ है या फिर शादी का यही प्रॉब्लम है and so on, हमारा फोकस ना प्रॉब्लम से हटके it's becoming about each gender, and that's not going to lead to any solution. Atul Subhash की जो story है, it is a story of betrayal by individuals and failure by a legal system that should have protected him. A false accusation took his dignity, reputation, and ultimately his life. This, the entire case is a reminder ki how costly these laws and the stigma that follows can be, even for innocent man. And of course, justice should be served and must be served. But let's not get carried away from the goal of getting justice to making this a gender war or a man versus woman situation. This is not about that. This is about justice. ये जो हमारा system है, if it's broken, it's hurting everyone, men and women. And while Atul's case might highlight how men can be victims of a flawed system, it's very important कि हम ये याद रखें that this system has also historically failed women too. For centuries, women were silenced, blamed, and disbelieved. That is why these laws came into place. These laws protecting women are in place because of the overwhelming violence and oppression they faced. ऐसे ही नहीं आए हैं ये laws. Go and revisit history के books. There were countless cases, and not just in India, across the world. ये अलग चीज है कि they are being misused by privileged men and women, especially in this case, this woman. But that does not mean that these laws were made mindlessly. False accusation hurt not just men like Atul, they also harm genuine victims, including women, by undermining trust in the system. अभी इस केस के बाद now even एक genuine case जहाँ पे जो पीड़ित, if it's a woman, if she goes, she might not be believed, she would have a harder time to get justice. So जब ऐसे cases होते हैं, अतुल जैसे cases, they are harming the entire system, they are harming the men who have to live with the stigma, and in this case अपनी जान गंवानी पड़ी, but they also harm the women जिनके लिए ये laws बनाए गए हैं, because उन पे you know अब उतना ट्रस्ट नहीं रहेगा. At the same time, demonizing women is dangerous because let me remind you that most women don't support misuse of these laws. आप भूल रहे हो आपकी मॉम, बहन, बेटी, wife, partner, they are women. Men and women coexist. Not they're not always after each other. We have Men and women have relationships that are based on love. Just because of one case, you cannot make this about men versus women. And most women and men want justice. They don't want vengeance. So turning this case into a platform to attack women only dilutes the case ka importance and creates unnecessary division. This is not the time to make it about men versus women. This is the time to seek justice for Atul. And women are still victims. We cannot forget that. While this case rightly highlights how men can be targeted, it should not erase the reality that countless women, and I'm sure we all know one or the other, हम सब जानते होंगे, in our relatives या family या friends या जिनको work पे जानते हो, we know countless women who suffer abuse, harassment, and violence. And demonizing all women for the actions of a few cannot be the solution. अगर हम ये करेंगे, it's a step backward for everyone. And ये एक बस एक रेस हो जाएगा, men versus women. We have to find a solution together. And the answer is in empathy, not in anger. Misogyny would not fix misandry. Using this tragedy to justify blanket hatred against women is not justice. It's simply perpetuating another cycle of oppression. अभी जो men hating women है या women hating men है, this is not the solution. Everybody just wants a justice in this world. They want a fairer world. And there are lessons for both men and women. This case is not just a wake up call for men, it's also a wake up call for the entire society. Men and women. Men should demand their rights without demeaning women, and they should be aware of their rights. Women should speak up against misuse of laws because it hurts everyone. It's not about one gender being right or wrong. It's about justice being blind to gender. अगर कुछ गलत हुआ है वो नहीं होना चाहिए चाहे वो विक्टिम मैन हो या वुमन हो. So I would think, and I think most people would agree, that judicial reform is the need of the hour. The solution is not to pit men against women, but to demand a better system. एक ऐसा system जो ensure करे thorough investigations. No one should be convicted or even stigmatized without evidence. At the same time, investigation unbiased or swift होनी चाहिए. And हमें as a society, we have to evolve to give support to both women and men. Accountability for false accusations. जो भी लोग ऐसा मिसयूज करते हैं लोगों को, दे शुड फेस कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस. दिस वुड प्रोटेक्ट द इंटीग्रिटी ऑफ जस्टिस फॉर एवरीवन. सो अगर किसी ने मिसयूज किया है, दे शुड नॉट बी एबल टू गो स्कॉट फ्री. Finally, there should be equal rights and protections. Men, women, and all genders deserve systems that work for them, not against them. Ye laws, they are to bring justice. They are not to harm a citizen who did not commit any crime. Justice should not be a privilege, it should be a right for everyone, irrespective of their gender, whether man or woman. And again, I come back to the fact that historically, women have been victims too. So let's not forget the historical context. For centuries, women were victims of unchecked violence, often without recourse. And ये दुनिया भर में रीत रही है कि women have been subjugated. And that is why ये laws हैं आज, because of the systemic abuse women endured. Okay, but that is the historical context. At the same time, iska misuse should be addressed. We cannot invalidate the struggle of countless men and women who genuinely need justice. So this should not and is not a gender war. It's about truth, not sides. Justice does not have a gender. Atul ka tragedy cannot be a reason to hate women, but it should be the reason to demand fairness and justice for everyone, including men. We need collective voices. Again, this fight is not men versus women, it's all of us versus injustice. So let's come together to demand reforms that protect everyone, regardless of gender. And my message as a woman would be to support justice for Atul. So, as a woman, I stand with Atul Subhash and all men who have suffered due to false accusations. But I also stand with women who have been silenced, hurt, and abused. ये एक वन साइडेड इशू नहीं है, इट्स अ सिस्टमिक इशू जो कि हम सबको वी हैव टू एड्रेस इट टुगेदर. सो वी हैव टू डिमांड अकाउंटेबिलिटी, फेयरनेस, एंड अबव ऑल justice for everyone. It should not be about men versus women, it should be justice and fairness. So Atul ka case is a tragedy, but maybe इस moment में we can try to push for a system that does not fail anyone, चाहे वो man हो या woman हो. Let's honor his memory by fighting for justice, not by fueling hate. Together, we should try and create a society where no one has to suffer like this again. Again, just that. This is not about men versus women. It's about seeking justice for Subhash and for every person out there who has suffered injustice. Thank you for listening. And let's start conversations that bring us together, not tear us apart. We as a society really need to stand together. ये race of, army versus aurat is not going to help anyone. So share your thoughts. How do we build a fairer system for everyone? And tell me how together we can make a difference. Thank you. Bye.